Hey everybody, welcome to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and also closes out the biggest giveaway we've done to date. Today, that's it. Today is the last day. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs, and welcome back. And I know you guys are all wondering, what about this, right? If you guys watched last week, you knew we were doing the big Airsoft Megastore gun builder gas blowback custom giveaway where you can win your own custom gun. Not this one, you build it yourself. Whatever you want from their custom gun builder. Also, if you've been following the Facebook page, you know we've been doing challenges every single day for an additional chance to enter. So if you guys haven't done it, today's your last day. I mean, today as in midnight Central Time, so you probably have less than 12 hours to do all the entries to get caught up because we're gonna be picking it tomorrow, the 25th. I'll have a big announcement video separate from this Monday's video. So guys, hurry up, hit the Facebook page, watch all the videos, and you'll see every single chance. And for the 6th day, which is today, I'll give you guys a hint to save you guys a little bit of work to have to hop over there to see what the 6th one is. Today's is, all you have to do is ask a question for next Monday's show. That's it. So if you guys are already asking questions, put them down below. I will be cutting it off at midnight tonight. I'll be staying up late and paying attention. And when we're gonna cut it off, and that's it. So you have to get your question in the day of. So it has to be on Monday. Today is the 6th day, the last chance to enter. So guys, good luck. And I can't wait to see what you guys end up with your custom gun builder. Also, I've got a bunch of stuff coming up. I do keep leading you on about the gameplay, but it is almost done. I'm actually getting a few episodes complete. I was gonna release the first one from Copperhead, but I'm holding off. I'm getting about 2 or 3 of them so I can have a few weeks. So I'm not releasing a video for you guys, and then it's like 2 more weeks before I release another one. I wanna be able to do it, so I have the whole series ready for you to go. And of course, I got a bunch of big games coming up here. I've got Operation Arene, that's in October. I've got Fate of Giant in November for American Milsim, and then also in September here in just a few weeks, I'll be going to Operation Ironclad put on by American Milsim. So a ton of stuff going on. I got 3 big events coming up over the next 3 months, so get ready for a ton of gameplay footage that's going to be kicking off on the channel. It's going to take the Friday slot, so kind of keep your eyes peeled on Fridays. Once it starts happening, it's going to be then all the way through. But guys, enough about what's going on, and of course enough about the contest. Now we're going to dive into what you're really here for, and that is your questions. Games Guy 71 writes, "Hey Jonathan, I love the show. I've been playing with gas blowback pistols for a long time, and almost all of them have been green gas, but recently got a CO2. And should I keep the CO2 cartridge in the magazine, or should I take it out?" Actually, that's kind of widely debated. Personally, I actually leave mine in. What's really important is, and this is the P09 from ASG. I actually really like this pistol. So on this magazine, it's brand new and haven't even put a 12 gram in here yet. Typically, I will leave mine in there. I know some people say don't do it because it's a lot of pressure against the valve. I personally do. Obviously, you need to make sure you keep it lubricated and all that. You don't want it to dry out. I think the big concern is if you're not lubricating the top of the 12 gram cartridge, put a little drop of oil on the top of that thing, right where it gets stabbed, the little rupture portion that gets stabbed by this portion in here, then it might be kind of iffy. Maybe something you want to kind of drain when you're done. Also, if you know you're not going to play for a while, let's say it's gonna be like at least a few weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks before you go back out, then you may want to consider kind of draining them out. Personally, if I fill them up, put fresh ones in for a game, and I know I didn't use them, I'm gonna leave them in there. I don't want to waste them. Those things are kind of expensive, you know, it kind of adds up, and I really don't want to waste that. Obviously with green gas, just heads up for you guys who are gonna go, well, green gas, should I take it out or leave it in? Green gas, always leave it in. That's a definite always. For me, I always leave them in on these two. I haven't had an issue yet, haven't had one leak or anything like that. So for me, it's been good. Again, though, I do keep that little, the rupture portion here, this valve, lubricated very well between just one little drop of silicone oil or something, murder oil, whatever you got, right there on that before you do the actual install of the 12 gram every single time. Dylan Hollywood Manitz writes, "Hey Jonathan, I would like to know your opinion on first aid packs on everyone's kits. What's your opinion on them and what do you have in yours? Many thanks from Minnesota, Hollywood MN." So yeah, actually I do have a first aid pack on my airsoft gear, but it's not a traditional one. It's not like blood clot, blowout, bleeder stuff. For me, it's a lot of just basic stuff. It's like allergy medication in case I get bit by a bee or something, you know, or get into something I'm allergic to, like Benadryl, things like that. Some Band-Aids, some like real basic bandages just to kind of deal with your boo-boo. I would call it a boo-boo kit more than anything else. Just those things that you can kind of get scratches, scrapes, bruises, stuff that you can just kind of tape up and get back in the game. Also blisters. I really have a lot of stuff in there for managing blisters and itch cream and things like that. So those for for me are what I keep in my Airsoft first aid kit. It's not your traditional trauma kit. Now, do I have first aid kits elsewhere that handle those things? Absolutely, especially in my car, and I have like kind of like a grab and go bag kind of thing that do have those items like tourniquets and blood clot stuff and all that. But when it comes to Airsoft, I mean, to be honest, most of these fields you're gonna have people out there, they're gonna provide, especially big games or professional fields, if you're going to play, they're gonna take care of you in a first aid situation. And I mean, to be honest, the worst thing you're gonna deal with there is a couple bleeder shots or a rolled ankle, or worse, a broken bone. So in those cases, for me, it's not something where I'm gonna wanna hump around, you know, a full-blown, you know, military trauma kit. Jackson Smith writes, nacho cheese or Cool Ranch Doritos? This is very important to me. Cool Ranch all the way, only those choices. I'm more of a spicy guy, so I do kind of like the Fuego, kind of the really hot ones, but given those two, Cool Ranch. Lees writes, hey, love the show, and I'm having an issue with my mid-cap mags for my M4. When I put a full mag in and fire on semi or full auto, it'll shoot a round or two with no issues, and then it won't fire, and then 2 or 3 rounds will fire out at the same time. But once the mag is about half empty, it shoots just fine with no problems at all. Any ideas on what's happening? On some mid-caps, they can be overfilled, like the spring tension, the way they work, especially if they're a larger capacity mid-cap. And I've seen this on like your 120s or 140 round mid-caps, and some mid-caps even go higher than that, like 160s. It's more common on those if you fill them all the way up, depending on your gun. This is kind of gun specific, that there can be just too much pressure in that mid-cap. I mean, just too much pressure on the BBs and the spring. So what's happening is it's forcing those BBs up. So when you put the mag in the gun, it loads a couple normally, and you may get those first few shots off. And then there's just so much tension in there that it could be just jamming up on the top of your hop-up chamber, or you know, maybe catching on the front of your air nozzle if your air nozzle's not all the way back, especially if you have maybe you're over-rotating when you're shooting and that air nozzle kind of walks forward. Sometimes having too much tension can cause feeding problems and kind of jam everything up. I've really seen that. I've personally experienced that with overfilled mags. Like you fill them all the way up to you just can't get that last BB in there. You can deal with that. Then you'll see, as you said in your case, you start to drain the BBs out, you get about halfway through the mag, and things are good. So personally, I short load my mags about 10 or 15 rounds. I found that usually fixes the problem. Something else to look at too, if you're getting issues on those all the way down, maybe you want to do a clean and lube on those mags. A couple drops of silicone oil, shake around the BBs and the speed loader, use it to fill up your mid cap, and then drain it a few times. That could work. You're going to deal with some hop-up issues on the first few times you use that magazine, so you want to kind of fire a few regular rounds or regular run-throughs of BBs on those mid caps. That could help too. You may have a binding issue with the springs inside the mag as well. So yeah, those are a couple little tricks to try, and good luck. But you know, like I said, in your case, I've seen this issue before. Try short loading it first and then try the cleaning second. A Street Fighter fan writes, Jonathan, what does the number 8 stand for in the top left corner of your profile picture? You know, I don't know if I've answered this on the show. I might have a long time ago, but you're talking about the 8 up here on this, on the actual logo, the Airsoftology logo, on all the logos. That is actually, even though it kind of works the periodic element thing, which doesn't match AS, which by the way is arsenic, if you guys are counting what the AS is for the periodic table. It's the year I actually started the podcast, actually started Airsoftology. It was very late in 2008. It's like November is when we got things kicked off. The first podcast came out in January of 2009, but the company was started, or at least the podcast was started in 2008, and that's where the 08 comes from. On the old podcast, I actually used to use the number system for the number of podcasts. So like podcast 1 had 01, podcast 2, 02, and so on. And I think around podcast 30 or 40, I stopped doing that on the little thumbnails where you download it on iTunes. I think they're still out there. If you go and watch some of the old ones and you pull up the little artwork for each of the old podcasts, you'll see the original ones are kind of numbered, but I'm not doing that anymore. But yeah, it's just kind of a reminder. Like I said, it was a hobby. The podcast was really fun for many years. Didn't really get super serious into doing this until about 2011, I guess, here on the channel. And then of course, really hard and heavy starting late 2013 here with the videos. Connor Watson writes, hey Jonathan, I was wondering when you would be in California again. Would love to play with you. Thanks and love the show. So yeah, I'm actually working on that right now. I'm gonna shoot for probably after Faded Giant in November. So I'd say around mid-November, you might find me out in California. Not sure how long I'm going to be out there. I may kind of try to do a tour that direction. Also in the Northeast, I'm still very, very early. So don't like throw a party and all that yet. But I'm working on doing something in the Northeast sometime in October, trying to get around and visit a few of the great stores and fields up in the Northeast of the United States. And then, like I said, in November, heading out west. just all kind of part of a big Airsoftology tour. But again, it's really early. Shh, just between you and me. Keep it here on the show. Don't tell anybody. Well guys, that's it for questions this week, which means it is time for the Code Red Headset's video recommendation of the week, and this one comes from the Military Defense Archive channel. I know it sounds really boring, right? It just sounds so plain, but this is a day in the life of an AC-130. And if you guys don't know what an AC-130 is, I'm sure you do if you played video games at all, like Call of Duty or Modern Warfare, Battlefield games, anything like that, you know what an AC-130 is. It's the big flying C-130 with all the guns on it, the Gatling gun, the 105 howitzer, all that stuff all loaded up. Well, if you ever want to see what really goes on behind the scenes, like inside of that beast, this was a really cool video. It's kind of long, it's like 10-ish minutes long. And to be honest, you want to start seeing the firing, you got to jump to about 4.5 minutes in, and then there's some good firing at about 7.5 minutes. But I thought it was kind of neat. I never saw how they stored the rounds, how the whole inner workings work. Because I mean, let's face it, my only experience with this thing is like probably yours from a video game. You jump in it in the video game and you just start shooting out of it, and things just work. But it's really cool to see what really takes to make this plane work, and just it's freaking awesome. So yeah, a little different from our usual airsoft stuff, but I thought it'd be cool for you guys to check out. So check it out. It is a day in the life of the AC-130, and I have a link to the video in the description below. Well guys, that's it for this week's show. As always, thank you so much for being here and joining me. And remember, if you want to get your question on the show, it's super simple. Put it in the comment section down below. Vote up your favorites and be persistent, because there's so many fantastic questions. I can only answer so few in this short video I do every single week. So make sure each week you're putting that question. I do read every single one. I know it's kind of a standing joke, but I really do. I read every single question down there below, and I try to get the best ones on the show. So if I'm not able to answer you, don't be discouraged. Also, like I always say, I love the community down there too, because you guys, my favorite part about Mondays is when I go through those questions and I see a lot of you guys helping each other out down there. It is just so freaking awesome, and that's what I love about you guys. Also, before we go, don't forget, speaking of questions, this is the last chance to enter. Remember, if you haven't done, you get the whole week of worth of entries. I can't even say it, week's worth of entries. There we go, mouth's working today. You've got 6 chances. Go back, watch all the videos on Facebook. It's facebook.com/airsoftology. But today's, remember, if you want the hint for today's, all you gotta do is ask a question down there and it puts you in the running for today's chance. So that's 1 in 6. That gives you 6 chances versus how many people have entered. So you've got a lot of chances to win your own custom gas blowback gun builder gun from Airsoft Megastore, which we're gonna be announcing in a video come tomorrow. But again, guys, thank you as always, and I'll see you next week. But until then, go out, play some airsoft, have some fun, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.